Hello and welcome to Crypto News. Today is September 6th, 2025, and the top cryptocurrency news is as follows. We will start today's episode with the traditional markets, which will dance to the rhythm of the cryptocurrency market. I say this because the SEC and the CFTC, the two regulatory bodies that regulate the US market in general, in a joint statement suggested that the traditional US markets should operate 24/7 to keep up with the cryptocurrency market. The traditional US markets, if I'm not mistaken, are 154 years old, and they have always operated in the same way. However, now the cryptocurrency markets have arrived, so they have to gradually keep up, and that's something we know will happen sooner or later. Moving on, let's move on to our ETFs. With full data from September 4th, we have $222 million in outflows from spot Bitcoin ETFs, while on September 5th, we are at $160 million in outflows. For Ethereum ETFs, the numbers are much worse. On September 4th, we closed at $167 million in outflows, while on September 5th, with BlackRock having ETF outflows of $309 million, the day closed at $446 million in outflows. Moving on, we move to the companies that are continuing to buy cryptocurrencies. A new one, Sora Ventures, will buy $1 billion in Bitcoin for a new fund it plans to create, with plans to invest it over the next 6 months. Next, we move to a large cryptocurrency market, Mara, which mined 705 BTC in August, bringing its fund to 52,477 BTC. He won't sell them, he'll hold them for a long time. Next, we move on to Sharplink Gaming, which as we know is one of the largest companies and holds $3.6 billion in Ethereum. However, this Ethereum is usually held on Coinbase for the treasury. Now, this company plans to invest an undisclosed amount of this money in a new Ethereum Layer 2, Linea, which will be launched on September 10th. What we do know from crypto news about Linea is that it is a new Layer 2 for Ethereum. It is being built by Consensus, the company that started Ethereum and currently owns MetaMask. It will launch with 72 billion tokens. 85% of the supply will go to the ecosystem without teams and VCs, and its TVL has already exceeded $1 billion. So this might be a very good level 2, and it has already managed to attract institutional support from the looks of it. Moving on, we go to Sol Strategies, which is a company that we know is constantly buying Solana. It will start trading on NASDAQ on September 9th, giving the company additional traders and money to continue buying Solana, while one of Mr. Trump's views has big plans for Dogecoin. We'll mention Thumbs Up, which, with Trump's backing, is going to be providing a lot of support for Dogecoin. Specifically, Thumbs Up Media, which is listed on the NASDAQ and backed by Donald Trump Jr., has plans to deploy 3.5 thousand Dogecoin miners by the end of the year. And that's really good news for Litecoin because Dogecoin is inside Litecoin. So if someone wants to support Dogecoin, they automatically support Litecoin as far as the network is concerned. Thumbs Up plans to buy an existing fleet of 2.5 thousand installations from Dogehash and add another 1,000 before December. Well, really good news for Dogecoin, as you can see, which is strongly supported by the family of the President of the United States. The President's family also supports another exchange. As we already know from crypto news, Crypto.com. Trump Media has completed its first Cronos token purchase worth $105 million. It bought 684.4 million Cronos tokens, or 2% of the total supply. And as we know, the purchases will continue, and for this reason, Cronos is generally in the green. Continuing with our exchanges, we will go to Robinhood, which, as we learn, will also enter the S&P 500. This will happen on September 22nd, according to the data we have. So good news for their shares, as you can see. And the last news of our day, we will go to Bullish. Bullish is a new exchange in the cryptocurrency market, which has also entered as a public company in America. Now we hear that Bullish Europe is opening its arms to Europeans, as it has received a MiCA license from Germany. So this is another exchange that you might want to explore. And it's time to go to our favorite cryptocurrency market, which is worth $110,000. The price is not very pleasant, however the future is rather bright. Specifically, let's look at our numbers again, and we'll look at the most official numbers from the Fed on US payrolls. The previous number was 79,000 jobs, now they were expecting 75,000, and the jobs actually came in at 22,000, 3 times lower than expected. This shows that the US economy is in a very bad place, but this is very good news for us. Why? Because it allows the Fed to cut interest rates. Just yesterday, we had a 99% chance of seeing a 25 basis point cut. However, today, with the numbers numbers I showed you on US payrolls, we have an 89% chance of seeing a 25 basis point cut and an 11% chance of seeing a 50 basis point cut. And that's not all. All the major banks in America are now saying that there could be at least 2 rate cuts by 2025. And all because of the numbers I showed you. The US economy is not doing well, so the FED is under a lot of pressure to cut rates to free up money. And if that rate cut is accompanied by more money printing from the Fed, we're in alt season, or at least that's what happened in the previous 2 alt seasons, so why not this one? That wraps up the top news for crypto. Today is September 6, 2025. I'd like to remind you that the content you just watched is created for educational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice, but rather as investment opinion. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and feel free to comment. Take care everyone, and have a good day.